It's beautiful to have been her son. I don't think I'll ever have, I can't do this in a couple of minutes to try and describe who she was, because it will take ages. And probably I'll need even to get a book or to jot down something, which is giving me an idea. I think I'll, day by day from this time and period, I think I'll just take time to try and capture in writing the memories of my mother. I was born in Voi town. I think my mother and my father had started their life there. And from those days, she would tell me stories of my birth, how there are quite a bit of challenges, but as a mother's love, through her mother's love, she went beyond the normal parenting to ensure I'm well, I'm perfect. I remember she had this funny story that I was born with some bit of a challenge with my leg. It was slightly bent. And the doctor that was addressing to women during that time was so stubborn to women that everybody feared her. So that even if some mother had a child who had an issue, instead of facing that man, it was a male nurse, instead of facing that man, they would prefer not to even have their kids attended to. So she told me that day she went and faced that man head on, and that man looked at her and even got scared and was able to attend to me. So had she assumed at that point I would be walking with a limp up to adulthood. But I want to thank God that she was ferocious and she was strong for her kids. Which leads me to something that I've learned over the years. My mother had love and compassion. I think mothers are supposed to love their children, but my mother did it in such a special way. I know my siblings can attest to this. Mother loved us in such a way that she would love me as the firstborn with some very unique way to my siblings, which would make you feel like you're the only child in that family. And funny enough, this would never bring conflict between the siblings because she still loved you the way you are as an individual, but then there was never conflict because we were always at peace, and we were always she always sowed that seed of love amongst us, her children. And I remember even growing up, from my earliest memories, I remember we were always so many in our house. So many with people's kids, people who were not her blood children, but we would all be bundled up in that particular space, that particular house. And the funny bit I remember was if it was meat that was cooked, everybody would share that meat on a single sitting. There was no discrimination. I never saw that. I never saw that even though we were living with different people, with different persons, there was never that discrimination. And clearly what I remember also was when even ironing for her children, she would pick all the clothes in the house, irrespective that this cloth belongs to the servants of the house or the kids of the house or the relatives we were living with. She did it with some kind of love that I don't think I've ever seen. And I would joke with her that, Mom, you've taught us so much love and compassion that we've gotten out in this world and we've just found the world is such a place full of connivers, full of people who are people who are not straight, people who are not honest with you. But then she would laugh and tell me, let those people not change you. Just remain whoever you've been and the way I've trained you and taught you to be. My mother never taught us to backstab people. My mother never taught us hizi njia za chini chini, you go malice. I never saw that in my family growing up. And I think this is just encompasses the love and compassion that we grew in. And then the other unique trait I saw with my mother was that she was courageous. I used to tell her, you stubborn is your middle name. Because if my mother focused on achieving anything, she would do it. However monumentous that thing appeared to be, or however impossible that task appeared to be, you would not shun off my mother and tell her, you can't do it, you're not able, you don't have the resources. She would always hatch a plan or hatch a scheme that will eventually get that thing achieved. One of the funny bits I also saw growing up, and I also used to laugh with her, was the fact that I told her, if the strength of man was measured, yours is 3 times. I think God gave you 3. You're 3 in 1. Your strength is not normal. You're just unique in your own ways. And she would laugh and tell me, my son, it's just God. It's just depending on God and committing your issues to Him. Nothing fazed her. Nothing completely fazed her. I don't know if it is the connection with God, I don't know. Nothing fazed her. I remember there was an incident where one of my sons, the small one, fell in water in Nairobi, fell in a swimming pool. And literally, being young parents, we were in shock. It was a numbing experience. We'd never had such a thing occur in our lives. Our parenting had been, somebody was born, we do clinics and all, and deal with small ailments, and then everything is all right. But this day, the kid falls in water, and then one of the neighbors rushes and calls us. Actually, it was one of the neighbor's kids who comes and tells us, Imon has fallen in water. So we stop everything, everybody in the house, we rush to the pool. Now, funny enough, there's a gentleman who I think was just in his duties, doing other things. So he comes over, he gives him the first aid process, I think the resuscitation, and then he hands the baby to us. When I looked at the baby, I saw death, because he'd turned purple, completely purple, he'd darkened, and I looked at my wife, she was already broken down. I think we were thinking more the same thing. So before going to hospital, we called mom, and mom in the most calmest way I've ever had, she told us, do not worry, I've seen his file and he's alive. So when I was looking at what was going on, and the panic, the lack of panic that my mother showed us that time, it was 50-50. I was just thinking, all right, let's wait and see. But the boy is still alive, the boy is still here with us, and the boy is healthy. nothing fazed my mother. Whether it was anything spiritual, anything physical, nothing completely fazed her. Then the other beautiful thing I enjoyed from my mother is her spiritual levels. Let me put it that way. Her salvation. Mother was just from another tribe. I used to joke with her that, Mom, you are not of this world. Your type and kind is not of this world. You're from heaven. I think we are just living with you, but you are from heaven. And she would laugh. And I remember, I think being her son, we would talk quite a bit on the spiritual aspect. And I would end up getting to learn of even certain deep hidden secrets that the Bible talks about that I think if she had not been my mother, I would not have been able to know, to grasp. There was a day I think we were just talking, and then she asked me, she used to call me Baba. Asked me, Baba, do you know your tribe in heaven? I looked at her and said, are there tribes in heaven? Me, I thought tribes of this world are maybe the worlds we know, the worlds we are. You identify as this, from this tribe and this tribe and this tribe. I didn't know that there are tribes in heaven. And then she told me, I know my tribe. You should pray. Pray so hard and work so hard that you get to know the deep and hidden secrets that the Bible talks about. So it's really encouraging me, because first I know that my mother had a friend in God. I think I used to tell her, you are acquaintances. You see, there's a difference between a friend and acquaintance. An acquaintance is somebody you can just sit down, talk to, get to know more about, as in share your experiences, shares your challenges. But a friend is like kind of with a distance. My mother and God were acquaintances. And that one I can attest to. I remember somebody jokingly said that if there's anybody, if my mother doesn't get to heaven, then no one will ever, none of us will go to heaven. I think those were the levels that of friendship that she had established with God. And it gives me an encouragement that I know she's in a better place. I know she's now enjoying she's walking the streets of gold, as the Bible tells us. She's enjoying her mansion in heaven. She's a hero. She's enjoying the victory that through the battles she experienced in this world, she's been able to achieve and overcome. So there's so much I can talk about, but one thing I appreciate and just thank God for the experience and the life of my mother is that she left us, her children, with the knowledge of God. Pamoja na all these other things that she was good at, she was beautiful at, she was compassionate, she would always help out everybody, she would always be ready to mingle with any class. She left us with the knowledge of God. And I've even been talking to one of my siblings and telling her, I think Mom has now left us in a position where we have that foundation. We really need to work hard, because Mother was so committed in prayer. I remember her growing up, every day at her appointed time of prayer, you'd hear my mother wake up and pray. Every day for years and years and years and years. From the time I was a little child to the point where I now understood what salvation is and what she stood for in salvation, to even now more mature, my mother's commitment to prayer is just an encouragement, and it's just something personally. Out of all this, I'm going to feel proud, and I want to emulate her. It's not easy. It's not humanly possible. I remember she would tell me she would do fasts in the month of February every year, fasting just on water every year. That commitment is what I want for me, and what I want my siblings and my relatives and my family to aim to attend to. Mother, I know I'll miss you so much, but you're in a better place. You're smiling at us. Enjoy, enjoy, mother. Enjoy, you deserve. Enjoy. Enjoy the presence of the Lord. Enjoy, He's your friend. Enjoy. Thank you.